years of her life, she worked so valiantly to take care of the Reagan Library, which was another act of loyalty to her husband, to take care of the Reagan Library and the Reagan Foundation, to go to the meetings, to raise funds, to see that it was fully endowed. And she did this up until very late in her life. I saw her going to meetings and dinners and get-togethers, fundraising. I saw her walking in on her own, and then a few years later walking in with a cane, and then a few years after that on a walker, and in her last years in a wheelchair. And she worked it so that that foundation, which represented what Ronald Reagan was in the world, would be fully endowed, fully successful, and last on forever into the future.
Well, and Peggy, I mean, throughout the day-to-day, so many people describing just what an incredible love story the two of them had. I have talked to others, though, who knew both Ronald and Nancy Reagan, and they said one thing that people don't realize about her is just how funny she was.
Oh, that's so true. She had a lovely, teasing sense of humor. She was saucy. She did wisecracks. She was wry. She loved, in the last 10 years, I was very lucky and privileged to become a friend, and boy, she loved the stuff we all love. She loved fun and conversation and good gossip. You know, she was, in some ways, a real girl's girl in terms of talking about the wonderful foibles and interesting lives of others. She took a lot of joy in social events and in get-togethers. She was very warm, and she treated everybody the same. She wasn't fancy with some people and not so fancy with others. She was the same for everybody.
You know, we've talked to other staffers today, too, who said she was tough, though, that, she was so protective of the president that she would go out of her way sometimes to talk to a staffer that she didn't think in particular was maybe helpful to the president. Did you ever witness things like that, being a speechwriter for Ronald?
I don't remember witnessing that, but I would say that observation is completely correct. You know, of the two of them, they were such an enduring partnership and a close friendship, and they loved each other, but he wasn't a worrier. So she sort of became the unofficial vice president for worrying. And he was never protective with himself. If anybody wanted to talk to him or needed him or wanted to grab him, he was fine. But she was the one who'd say, wait a second, he needs a little rest right now. It's 11:45 p.m. Leave him alone. Or he's thinking now on the plane. Let him think and take his notes. Don't be in his face. So she was a very strong protective barrier for him, and she made it possible for him to be him because she was protective.
You know, she did get some criticism for that later on.